Hey there friends, today I'm creating an 8.5 inch by 11 inch layout using the brand new Magical Memories Volume 2 and Title Builder Volume 6 stamp. Now these are definitely theme park themed. I am prepping my title builder stamp because this is the first time I'm using it for you guys today. I am prepping it using an eraser. I'm using a gum eraser, but you can use any kind of eraser you want. This just helps get some of the oil, the manufacturing kind of residue off of the back of the stamps and ready for them to stamp. I'll keep adding that on before I stamp as well. Now I went ahead and created a 1/4 inch frame all the way around because I want that bold frame around my layout. My idea for this layout is to have an intentional area of color, right? So I want the color to be wherever I want your eye to go. So the first place I'm going to put that pop of color is definitely behind my photo. And I'm using the brand new Magical Memories paper stack to do that. Now I think I'm going to need about 10 sheets of this yellow star because I could definitely use it for everything. I almost stuck my photo down there and then I realized that I wanted to use dimensional adhesive to do that. So I have an idea here because I love this paper so much. I want to keep every single bit of it. And since a tiny little bit is only going to be showing on the edges, I'm going to cut out the center. I know that might seem crazy to you guys, but I really love yellow. I especially love Ellie Studio yellow because that nice buttery color, and I love stars. So this is practically the most perfect piece of pattern paper for me ever. So by just doing that, I've saved a little bit, definitely the size that I could put in a pocket. Or layer it up on a layout. So then I am just adding extra adhesive in here around my frame, and then I'm going to adhere it to this red dotted pattern in a skew so it's not straight. I want it to look playful right away. I'm going to give this layout a left margin for my photo because I had a great idea to use the words and phrases from the Title Builder Volume 6 Simply Magic stamp to form like a column all the way down the right side of my page, and I wanted all of that to be in gray so that my title, which is going to be in color, would stick out. Now for my title, I am planning it out right now. If you are doing something like this, you definitely want to have a plan for your title so that you can add the words around it. Make sure you figure out where your title is going to go first. I am going to use Happiest Place on Earth, and I'm just trying to figure out how I want uh, to position that right here. If I want to do 3 lines or 2 lines. I have opted for 3 lines, so I'm just going to mark kind of the margins around where my title is going to go with a pencil because I am going to stamp all the way up to that edge. Now I am stamping on smooth white cardstock. It's Basil coconut swirl cardstock, which I really love. I am using close to my heart ink and pewter. So that's a great neutral gray color. I really like it. And the first thing I'm going to do is stamp the word magic because I've been just dying to stamp with this word first and foremost. I'm using a piece of just offcut printer paper that I had next to my desk to kind of just test out the stamp before I go ahead. It's always a good idea when you're first using your stamps. The more you stamp that word, the better it's going to turn out every time after that. So you can see there the first time it was a little it was a little light on the right side. The second time it was perfect. So always a good idea to prime your stamps and to use them over and over again. So now in this process, I'm just going to keep building words and phrases on the right side here to make a really cool background for my page. Okay, already I have magic moment, parade, memorable, favorite mouse, must have treats, and I'm bringing all of some of those over to all the way to that right edge there to really make it look like it is one with the page, this really cool column of words and phrases. It's going to look really cool and graphic. And then we're going to put some embellishments around these words too. So not all of them are going to be right next to each other. I do want to keep some spaces around there. Also added rides to the bottom. Remember that I marked up with my pencil where that bottom line of my title was going to go. So I'm making sure that whatever I put down there isn't going to cover that up. Also want to make sure that I use the handwritten font and the sans serif font, that outline font, just to kind of mix up the way that background looks. And I'm just trying out my photo here. I do want these words to kind of run into my photo so that they look like part of the background. So I'm okay with that. I kind of wish I had put magic a bit further over to the right, but it's not a big deal. It can stay back there, and I can always stamp stamp it again right there, just like that where it's running off the page. So this is where I'm kind of like seeing where things can fill in the gaps. That's the great thing about clear stamps, that you can kind of picture where you're going to put the stamp just by holding it up with your acrylic block. Just adding in a few more words and phrases here, and I realized that I haven't put any of the typewriter font in there, and I really want to work some of those smaller words in and definitely get castle up there. I like how that one's kind of going over the line of where my photo is too. I think it'll make it look really nice that way. And down here at the bottom, that needs a little bit of something here. Perfect. So now I am figuring out how I'm going to build my title here. These large word metal dies are the coolest. I am so excited about them. Not only do they have the word, but they have the outline so that you can really make that word stand out. So that's what we're going to do. I'm grabbing the warm and cool solids paper stacks to see which color I want to use to die cut this word. Now, in the collection, you have yellow and red and teal, pink, and gray. So these warm and cool solids cardstocks have all of the exact colors that are in the collection, so it makes it kind of foolproof for you to get just the right color. I'm going with teal, and I'm using that medium teal, that classic right in the middle. It's absolutely perfect. I'm using Thermoweb's new Pixie tape there and my magic mat from scrapbook.com with my Revolution machine from We Are Memory Keepers to cut that out. And you see there that if you put that on, if you overlap the photo there with just the word itself in teal, you can still see it, but it doesn't really stand out. But wait till you see it when you back it with that white outline. It really makes it pop. I am so glad that we have these outlines for these words. They are just the best. I'm using my scrapbook.com glue here to adhere the die cut word to that white background. Always a good idea to kind of use your fingers to get an even amount of glue on there, especially in those small areas. Isn't that so pretty? I just love the font too. That font is just the coolest. And I'm finding my dot for my eye, which I always seem to lose. I don't know how, but always lose the dot for my eye. There we go. So look how great that stands out when it overlaps the photo. I just love that. This photo, by the way, is my son's first trip to Disneyland back in December 2021, and we had such a great time. Really, really love it. I have to get my photo down actually first, so I'm going to go ahead and use some dimensional adhesive on my photo. Actually, permanent adhesive on my photo because I already have dimensional adhesive on my title. So we're going to pop up that title word. I already love the way that the red and yellow and teal are playing with each other right now. That is my favorite ultimate combination of colors ever is teal, yellow, and red. If you've been following me for a while, you know that I use that combination in so many different variations with pink instead of red, with, a pale yellow or a dark teal. I use it in every which way. It's the best. Now I have place, which is red, so I'm going to use yellow for on earth. And because I want it to be a little bit darker, I'm using saffron from Close to My Heart. Canary is my favorite yellow from Close to My Heart, but saffron is just a little bit deeper, so it'll stand out a bit more against the white background. I love the way that the Happiest font plays against the Place font too. It looks really great. I'm just seeing if I can fit anything else in that small section there under On Earth because Parade is so close to the Happiest at the top. The fact that there's such a big space there doesn't seem right to me. So I'm adding something else just underneath of my title. And I'm adding just here for the because it can tie in with rides. There we go. And I really like that. Okay, now we're going to have some fun with some vellum. I grabbed the vellum die cuts from the Magical Memories collection, and I'm filling in those spaces with the perfect sized vellum die cuts. Now, I found out that this tape runner from scrapbook.com, it works perfectly behind vellum. You can't see it at all, and it's not like especially made for vellum. It is just a great adhesive runner, so really excited about that. I just gave it a go, and I'm usually not that bothered about it, but if you find that you can't find one that hides behind the vellum, then you can stitch it. You can use a tiny attacher. You can use a brad, anything you want, really. Another thing you can do is use a glue dot and then cover up where the glue dot is with some other smaller embellishment, like an enamel dot. So this actually castle just fits in perfectly there. I had at first thought to put some of the puffy circle stickers, but this castle, since we're standing in front of the castle, it ties in a bit better and it looks awesome. It's the perfect size. So great. I love when that happens. The other thing I want to add are just some really tiny little embellishments that are neutral, right? Because I'm keeping everything on that background that is not my title neutral because I want my title to stand out. So I'm grabbing white and black and white little asterisks and sparkles from the various stamps. So I just used the puffy stamp there. That one is the cardstock stickers. Just adding a few of those little sparkles around the page. Now, if it's around my title, then I am using the colored ones. So what I'm doing here is essentially just blocking the color all in one area, keeping it to teal, red, and yellow, and only adding it in this one area on my layout. I love those puffy sparkles. They are just the coolest thing ever. I think I need an entire sheet of just puffy sparkles. Okay, now it's time to pull out the tab stamp, the brand new tab stamp. It is the coolest tab stamp. The tabs have sparkles on them. I mean, what more can you ask for? So I'm stamping it on white solid cardstock, and I always find that it's easiest to stamp the tab and then the phrase on the inside before you die cut it. So if you stamp the tab and then you die cut it and then you try to stamp the phrase on, it makes it a little bit more difficult to get that centered and in a good position there. So I have all of my tabs metal dies on my magnet sheet there. I like to keep them all together just whenever I'm using a tab. I know which magnet organizer to grab. And I've die cut that out, but I'm going to add it to my page and it looks really lost there. I feel like it definitely needs some color. So I'm grabbing my Cool Solids cardstock and I'm using that lighter shade of teal. So I'm going to just stamp it over again. I can keep that same first tab that I stamped and use it on another project. I'm sure that I'll have a pocket page or something that I can use it for, but this really makes all of the difference, especially when I layer it with that yellow and that red. It really helps it to stand out. The other thing that it does is that it kind of balances the colors that you find in my title. So the teal in my title and on the castle is balanced by this little pop of teal just opposite it on my photo. So you'll see that as soon as I lay this down, it just really works. And sometimes you have to try something first to figure that out. The other thing I did was grab the die cut pack. And that Magic Moment red die cut fits perfectly in that negative space there. And it, adds that extra pop of red that I think is perfect for that corner. Okay, next I'm going to grab the Hearts and Stars puffies, and these are so cool because I love the outlines. If you want to add a shape but don't want it to look too heavy, then grab one of those outlines. And that yellow star fits perfectly in that space. I keep wondering if I should add a label too, just so that I can add the date. I don't love it up there at the top, especially in gray, because I'm trying to keep all of my color there on that diagonal. But if I tuck it in over here on the side, then that feels much better to me. It doesn't really kind of try to compete with the teal tab up there. And then I can just add the month and the year right to that tab. Okay, just a few more finishing touches are going to finish off this card. And I want to add a star or dot from each of the three colors right there in that upper left-hand corner. I think that looks great. And look at this great diagonal line that it's created of color. So I have a beautiful diagonal line of color that's going right through my photo. Everything else is neutral, and I just love the way that that turned out. I can't really think of a better way to use my new Title Builder Volume 6 Simply Magic stamp for the first time than to add all of these words and phrases to my page background. So I didn't just create one title, I created a lot of different titles and words to add that really fun column on the side where I've also placed that title, which is a mix of die cuts, puffies, and stamps. How fun is that? Then I grabbed the Magical Moments collection and went to town adding all the fun embellishments. And I hope you guys love this page as much as I do. And please tag me if you try to recreate it. I'd love to see. Be sure to grab all of the supplies that I used to create this page at the links in my video notes while supplies last. Thanks so much for watching and happy creating.